Last time on the next show.
Layla opened the door, and she was standing there, and she was wearing... And then Layla took my hand and walked me inside. And she just pushes me back and climbs on top of me. And then she runs her fingers down my chest. And that's when she asked me the craziest question I had ever heard at that point in my life. Alright, well, you guys have been begging for it, and so here it is. My brand new Instagram. Don't forget to go follow that for channel updates and bonus content. But besides that, we also got the story of how I hooked up with my first crush. Part 2. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, then go check that out and come back here. Anyways, back to the story. So here I am in Layla's room on her bed, where she's currently laying on top of me. And then she asked me the craziest question I had ever heard in my life up to that point.
Have you ever made a movie before?
I mean, there was this one time where me and my friends made a fake trailer for a superhero movie in 8th grade. I might make an animation YouTube channel. So then I was like, no, and she was like, we should make our first one. And I'm just there like, damn, can we at least warm up first? And then Layla slides herself off the bed and onto the floor. And then she hits one of these. And before I knew it, she was making mac and cheese under the bed. So I'm there basically levitating at this point, and I just knew that there was nothing better in life until this moment. And then Layla stops and goes over and grabs her phone. And then she hands it to me, and she just gives me this look that made my heart hit the jerk. And then... somebody was home. So now Layla jumps up and looks at me, clearly nervous, and goes, that's my mom and my stepdad. And I'm like, okay, word. So how do I live? And she tells me her stepdad is really strict when it comes to boys, and that I should probably try getting out of the house. But the problem was, we were on the 2nd floor, and their parents were going to be in between me and getting down the stairs. And the math just mathed pretty quickly to let me know that the only escape here would be climbing out of Layla's window. So Layla hugs me goodbye, and I make the climb down. Now, Layla's bedroom window was facing the backyard, and I figured that running up at the front would probably get me caught here, so I go for the fence. But Layla had this tall, sharp, awkward-shaped fence, and not to mention I could clearly hear her neighbors outside, so even if I managed to jump the fence, I would just be jumping into their yard right in front of their faces. So then I figured my only chance to get out of here is attempting to run out of the front. So I turned back towards the front of the house, and then... somebody swung the door open to come outside. And for a second I freeze up because my brain just can't decide which way I'm gonna go. But then out of the corner of my eye, I see possibly my only option left. The backyard shed. So I immediately silently skip over to the shed, and lucky for me, it was unlocked. So I get inside and I close the door behind me and I peek back out the shed window. And I figured it had to be either Layla's mom, stepdad, or maybe her brother if I was lucky. And then I see someone come around the corner. And unless Layla's little brother had been maxing out his muscle stats since birth, I was definitely looking at Layla's stepdad. And this guy looked like he got out of jail tomorrow. I mean, I don't even know how he got out the house to begin with. But that wasn't even the worst part. Because following right behind him was a guest I would have never even considered existing. This strong-ass fucking pit bull. Yeah, so Layla had a pit bull. And I guess for some reason, she didn't think she had to mention that. So at this point, I'm not even trying to look out that shed window. And I just tuck myself behind the lawnmower and sit in the dark and listen, hopefully till I hear them go inside so I can leave. So I sit there for a while, and eventually, I hear Layla's stepdad calling the dog to go inside. And then I hear the house door opening, and I'm like, alright, here's my chance. And so I get up, and I peek out the shed window, and as I reach for the shed door to get out, I then hear a car door slamming and 2 people start talking. What the is going on, man? I just want to go home. So I wait some more, and before I know it, there's multiple voices speaking and laughing. And then I get a text from Layla asking me if I got home. So I respond back with a picture of the beautiful view I had from the backyard shed. And now Layla's texting me like, oh no, what happened, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling her I can't leave because there's multiple people right around the corner. And then she texts me back, and she's like, oh yeah, my parents are having a barbecue. Those must be their friends. Oh, great. So now I was stuck in this shed until this barbecue was over. Not to mention, while I was sitting there, I realized that if I got caught in here, it would look like some random kid had been camping out in their shed for God knows how long. And to top things off, we never had our taco date. And I didn't eat yet that day. And now I had to smell the sweet smells of patty meat and sausages from the dark corner of this shed while I lay there in agony. And after a while of sitting there salivating at the thought of eating a burger, I ended up falling asleep. And as I was in there dreaming about a succulent smashed double cheeseburger, I was soon interrupted by the shed door handle jiggling. But then the shed door swings open and light starts pouring into the shed. And at this point, my heart was about to come out my ass. And then I watch as this fucking refrigerator walks into the shed. Layla's stepdad was now standing in the shed with me. Now thank God the lawnmower was positioned in an angle where I was still in the darkest corner of the shed. And luckily, since I'd ended up laying down to sleep, I was hidden as I possibly could be. But this shit really felt like some Friday the 13th shit. This guy was stunning around the shed all slow like he didn't have any guests to attend to, and I'm just waiting for this baseball glove hand to reach over the lawnmower and grab it. But finally, after what felt like my entire life, I hear him pick something up and then walk out of the shed. And at this point, I'm back to starving and just wanting to go home. And not to mention, I've been laying on the floor of that shed for like 2 hours, and my back felt like it had been hit with a battering ram. So I peek out of the shed window, and honestly, it just looked like the barbecue had gotten even more turned. Music blasting, everyone's laughing and yelling, and for a second, I debated on just trying to book it out of there in the cover of darkness and drunkenness. But the shed door was right in view of everyone, and it was also loud as shit. So I cut my losses and I went back to sleep behind the lawnmower. And as I'm back to dreaming about literally anything besides the situation, I'm woken up to the now familiar sound of the shed door handle jiggling again. And then the shed door opens, only this time, instead of seeing the grand piano I saw walk into the shed earlier, this silhouette at the shed door looked more like a mini fridge. And I honestly thought I must have been dreaming about a tiny alien invasion or something. But then, as the figure walked into the shed and got closer to me, I realized I was standing face to face with Layla's little brother. And at that moment, I was prepared for this kid to scream, and then for me to be promptly jumped and beaten by a party of Layla's ex-con stepdad and all his prison buddies. But instead, without saying a word, this kid walks right up to me, and I look over, and he's holding a plate with food on it. Then he hands me a burger off the plate as he stands there just staring at me. And I look at this kid like, damn bro, you really the GOAT. I mean, this kid was the MVP of little siblings as far as I was concerned. If this was my brother when he was a kid, he would have ate the burger in my face and then farted and slammed the shed door closed. But yeah, this kid was really for that. Plus, I figured the situation was perfect to secure some brother points before me and Layla's wedding. So I thanked him, and he left me to eat. And at that moment, I felt like a war prisoner getting his first real meal. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but that burger hit different. And then as I finished it, the itis hit me, and I fell back asleep. And as I'm there sleeping, dreaming about food and what it's like to not sleep on the floor of this shed, and suddenly, I get a whiff of vanilla frosting and strawberries. And I'm like, damn, I'm dreaming in 4D. But then, I realize I'm not dreaming, as I open my eyes. And then, I see Layla on top of me again. I mean, of course, this time we're in her shed, but that's not the point. So I'm just there confused as to what's going on, and then Layla tells me everyone went home. And I'm like, damn, what time is it? And Layla shows me her phone, and it's 2:30 in the morning. And I'm like, my mom's gonna be pissed. I gotta go home. But Layla isn't getting off of me. And that's when she looks at me and says she feels really bad for what happened. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Don't worry about it. It's not your fault. And then she pulls out what I first assumed to be an apology mitt. But then I rubbed my eyes, and I realized I was looking at my good friend Jimmy. It was a rubber. She had a rubber in her hand. And that's when I realized my night wasn't over. Now, long story short, while I may have starved all day, slept in a shed, and almost maybe could have got mauled by a Glock with legs, I left that shed a new man. And after that great feeling, I then trekked it home in the middle of the night, which is always fun. But yeah, me and Layla just really hit it off. I mean, it didn't last forever, sadly, but we'll save that story for another time. Now, again, in case you guys forgot, I made a new Instagram page, so if you guys are interested in keeping up with the channel, don't forget to go give that a follow. The link will be in the description. I just want to thank you guys for all the support. Road to 10K subscribers, so if you know anyone or have any friends that would like this type of content, don't forget to let them know. But yeah, don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Yeah. All right, well, we didn't hit the 8-minute mark today, so we're just gonna sit here for a little bit and just ride out this wave. Okay, bye.